When I was 9 years old, I wanted to be another Fred Astaire. I suppose looking back, I've had more successes than failures, and that's a thing to be grateful for. My biggest regret is that my dear mother never lived long enough to see me reach the heights in show business that she'd always wanted for me. I can't help but think how lucky I am to have found this place. It's almost like a fairy tale. Puerto Rico has become a very important part of my life because I try to get at least 3 to 4 months a year here. And it pays off. It does really. I don't miss working. I just play as much golf as I feel like playing. Read a lot of books. Any little turning through here, you go straight onto the beach, and the beach still goes on forever. You just have a feeling of total relaxation, of being in another world. It's very sad when there was a hurricane here and all the trees had a real battering, and they all looked sad. They all looked as though they were sort of saying, you know, what happened to us? What is this fair that we should be blown away? They all looked like sick people, actually. And you felt like sort of giving them a hug and saying, don't worry, in a couple of months, nature will take care of you again.
In England, the telephone that never stops. And here, he just can wear a pair of shorts and be like a beachcomber, and, you know, nobody really noticing.
I try to be a private person. I don't think it's anybody's place to sort of look at other people, gawping at them and all that. And I do try to steer myself and stay away from places that are too crowded. In England here, I can go anywhere I like. I can go into the most crowded hotel, walk through the bar, and if I was back home, it'd be, hey, nice to see you, hey, didn't you do good game, good, and all that nonsense. Whereas here I can be much more relaxed, and I think it influences me the whole time when I'm here. I think I know that I can just be normal, you know, and I like being normal. That Coco Loco, now don't forget, you only have half of it, because it's legal.
I remember the last time.
I remember the last time as well.
Yes.
My wife, Juanelia, she's the star here because everybody recognises her, and that suits me fine.
And Miss World 1975 is Miss Puerto Rico.
Here is the great moment for Juanelia Merced of Puerto Rico, receiving the orb and the scepter of office now.
I love to be completely anonymous. And then we swap over, and we keep doing that until we drop.
That would be that difficult, isn't it, Sherry? That's your thing.
I am known here as Senor Mundo, which is Mr. World. And I'd rather be Senor Mundo than Bruce Forsyth when I'm here because people do leave me alone. Mi inglese no español. Stop. I talk with my hand. The last 20 years have been the happiest of my life because I not only discovered and married Juanelia, I found happiness in this little corner of the world. Shall I write my name? Bruce. Forsyth. Senor Mundo. Okay? Mi Senor Mundo. Thank you. I'm a very lucky man. If you would think of where I started in that little 3-bedroom house in Edmonton, I always used to slide down the banisters. Yeah, always a quick way of getting downstairs. And yeah, this is the room. This is the room I shared with John. It was a twin-bedded room. We had one bed there. I slept that side, and John had his bed here. Very happy memories in this little room. I used to tease the life out of him. I was a terrible younger brother. So many times you deserve a real bashing and you get away with murder. My mother had this garden that went right down to the bottom there, and then you had 32 lock-up garages, which have all gone now. This is my mother and father's room. My mother used to sleep that side, and Dad would sleep this side. And practically every morning, especially on Sundays, I'd rush round there and get into bed with Mum. I don't know why, it's just a cuddle from Mum in the morning.
Bring the breakfast for your mum and dad, eh?
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't bring breakfast. No, I wasn't that good a child. I owe everything to them because they gave me the enthusiasm to carry on in the business. They wanted so much for me, which was lovely. It's very, very nostalgic coming back here. It really is. Many, many, many happy hours, many happy years actually. Some sad things happened, but there were very, very good times too. My father would go mad if he could see what has happened here. I mean, look at this fence all pushed down and nobody's doing anything about it. Look at all this. Can't believe it. My father would be very upset. And this is where we had there we are, 3 petrol pumps were here. Bump, bump, bump. After the air raids, I'd get on the roof of my father's garages and collect all the shrapnel that had come down. And then, of course, I used to dance up there. It was corrugated iron. And because I was a blooming tap dancer at the time, I'd spend quite a bit of time bashing out beats on this corrugated iron. And all these neighbours used to go crazy. They thought I was mad, you know. But there we are. I was the Billy Elliot of the tap dancing Billy Elliot. You see, none of that ballet stuff. Not for me.
Hello? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You've got the wrong number. Who are you after?
People at TXU Energy like to go the extra mile.
Oh, he must be ex-directory. Do you have an address?
They promise to sort out your inquiries quickly and efficiently.
Hello?
Hello, I've got a call for you.
Hello? Thanks!
TXU Energy. Electricity, gas, and extraordinary service.
Who's this woman?
My brother Phil.
At Homebase, save 1/3 on these Black & Decker power tools.
You haven't got a brother Phil.
Just feeling the wind in my hair sends a tingle down my spine.
You could call this man a modern-day Don Quixote, forever tilting at windmills. He's intrigued by what he believes is a never-ending source of power. A source of power which is pollution-free, which can be harnessed without harming the environment or hurting traditional ways of life.
I think that for this small island at least, there is a future above the waves, as much as below them.
When he tells you this power could supply 1/3 of the UK's electricity needs, you might well think there's a name for people like this. And you'd be right, there is. It's Shell Renewables.
There are some fantastic savings at Boots this Christmas, like our amazing offer on ladies' and men's fine fragrances. With up to 1/3 off a huge range of well-known brands, it's a great time to treat someone special to their favourite fragrance. Great gift ideas, great offers, now available at Boots.
Yes, I know your mother's coming for Christmas. Still doesn't mean we'll get a new sofa in time, does it?
Watch me. Come on.
Yes, we've seen the sofa that we want, that one, but we don't want to pay anything for a year. We want 4 years free credit, and we want you to deliver it before Christmas, okay?
No problem. If you order that sofa there by 5 o'clock on Sunday, we promise to deliver it by Christmas. Debbie, we've got another fainter.
So, it's a new home.
And this is our first night.
Dad. What?
I can't get the PC working.
So ring the Curry's helpline.
With the new Curry's helpline, you can ring us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With no worries, low prices too. Like this new Packard Bell package with 17-inch monitor, printer and scanner for $7.99.
Dad, you'll never guess what it was.
Curry's, no worries.
Life is made of one-to-ones. But some are more difficult than others. That's why we've created a new tariff that lets you use your free minutes to call anyone on any network. It's called Everyone because it includes everyone.
The Bobbies, the beat, the pulse of the street.
I'll be blowed.
You love the law.
Stay exactly where you are.
All right. Keep your helmet on.
Heartbeat.
Nice one.
Sunday at 8, ITV1.
As soon as I opened the door to go in, I could feel an atmosphere that was something that I'd never experienced before in the house, because it was always such a happy house with a lovely atmosphere. And then I just had to look to my mother and look to my father to realise that something very bad had happened, and I had no idea what it was. And then they told me. John, my older brother, was a flight sergeant, and evidently 3 aircraft went up that night. One of them ditched into the sea, and the other 2 planes collided when they were searching for survivors, and John was posted as missing. My mother, for years, she had the feeling that he may have been picked up by a boat, was knocked out, was delirious, and he could have finished up in South America. She used to come out with all these things, trying to convince herself that one day he would come back, but of course he never would, and that's very painful to watch. He was a much broader, much more muscular young man than I ever was, but he had a great face. He was a good-looking, clean-living lad, and I will remember him like that till the day I die.
The Theatre Royal Bilston, a real flea pit. My first song and dance act was called Boy Bruce the Mighty Atom. It was a dreadful act. My share of the takings was 13 shillings and 4pence, which is 66 pence these days.
Very good. You've got the job. Have you got a question? What would you like to know?
When did you first go on TV?
Well, it was 1939, and there was a show on at Alexandra Palace, because that's where all the television shows came from, Alexandra Palace. And you could go along there, like any of you could have gone along with your mother, you see, and a chaperone, or your father, whatever, and you could go along and just meet this nice lady called Jasmine Bligh, and they'd have a talk to you beforehand. You'd take your music with you, and you'd have a little talk to her, and then you get up and do your song and dance number. And she said to me, what is your ambition, Bruce? And I said, I want to be a star, I want to be a famous dancer like Fred Astaire and buy my mother a fur coat. I thought that's what being a star was all about. Now, you've got a question, Sam. Yes.
When did you start dancing?
I started when I was about 9 or 10 in a little dance school in Tottenham where the dance teacher was called Tilly Vernon. But I learned their English tap, which is very up on your toes a lot of the time, and it was what you were doing there. But I really like the American tap dancing, which is when you hold the floor with your feet. Not a very good service, but I'll show you what I mean. American dancing was more a lot with the heel. Very lots of all that. And very bent knees, all that kind of stuff. And that's the stuff I wanted to learn. So I went to, no applause. And that's when I went to a black dancer who was called Buddy Bradley. And I went to him at a place in Denman Street, and this was marvellous because I was learning to dance the kind of stuff I loved.
This was all mirrors when Buddy was
Oh,
here,
that's
wasn't it?
all mirrors.
The whole bit. He used to stay here. He would stay in the centre, have a little table and chair.
That's it.
And a coffee.
Yeah.
He liked his
And who
coffee.
was the red-headed girl? She was rather nice.
Didi, she was lovely.
Oh, she was lovely. Oh, I remember her.
Do you remember?
Although I was younger than you, I do remember Didi.
Yes,
Yes,
I
she
know.
was
I thought
very
you- I
nice.
thought you would.
Yes,
You
red
had
hair.
that kind of memory of
Didi,
her, yeah.
Very hot,
So,
yes.
yeah. When I first met him, I thought, well, he's very tall, and he's a bit spindly. I thought, well, he's going to be a bit sort of gangly. But when I saw him dance, he could really do it. I thought, I have to watch out for this guy, because he's doing it quite well.
Especially when I first came, because I was into this English sort of thing that was a bit gangly, but of course Buddy's style made you hold the floor, made you move your body in a much different way to how I'd been taught for years. And of course John had been there for a year, and he was one of the young men there that I used to watch very carefully because he did have the style that I wanted to nick.
The time when it really hit me that I knew he was going to be big was during an anniversary program. We used to do these once a year, and it was always an invited audience, lots of producers, lots of agents, and he bought the house down.
It is incredible to see the transformation. I had no idea when I came in, and I saw the windmill. I thought I was going into the Windmill Theatre as it was. These were all rows of seats, and you've got tables. There was no big bar at the back there. And the stage, that looks like, and you've got the dress circle, that's as it was, and the stage, and you've got that pole there. Is it a fire station?
Oh, I'm afraid not.
It was always a girly show. In fact, this was the theatre that never closed all the way through the war. Oh dear, well I feel very honoured you're bringing me down here.
Come with me.
I think some of the girls used to challenge it. Are you all decent? There we are. Oh, this is quite something. Thank you for letting me come in here and having a little look round. In my day, all the boys, we dressed in 2 dressing rooms upstairs, and you were never allowed near, let alone come in. So it was very, very different then. It was the only theatre in Britain that did have girls that would pose in the nude. It was the only place. But the girls weren't allowed to move. They used to pose with absolutely nothing on pedestals, but they weren't allowed to move. It was against the law. And sometimes we used to try and make them laugh on the side, and they'd sort of just jiggle a bit, and then we get into trouble for that.
All the girls liked Bruce. He didn't go out with them all, but they all liked Bruce. He was very easy to get on with.
We worked so well together. We loved working together.
And it became a feature of the Windmill Theatre that Penny and Bruce's duets were so popular that we always did one in every show. And we kind of liked one another an awful lot, and that's how it happened, how it started.
When I left the Windmill, it was tough. Money was short. Thank goodness for my parents, who always were there to back me up and keep me going. Without them, I think I would have crumbled under.
I think if perhaps they hadn't supported him as much, he might well have given up. I think they were the sort of rod at the back, saying that, come on, Sam, we're going to push you and you've got to keep doing it. And this is why I think Bruce carried on, but he was nothing like a headliner then.
It's soul-destroying when you're not appreciated, and Bruce really did have a talent. And once he said to me, I'm going to give this business 7 years, and if nothing happens in that 7 years, then I'm going to get another job.
I was second spot comic on Variety, which is the worst spot you can have in a Variety bill. And I didn't want to become a bitter old pro, but this place gave me the lucky break. I mean, this is really, it's what everybody dreams about working in, because it's all raised up like this, so everybody can see over the top of everybody.
The very first time I came to this theatre was back in 1956. I was about 9 years old, and one day my grandfather said to me, I'm going to take you to the theatre, to the Balcombe Theatre, and you're going to see a man who is going to be very famous. That, of course, was Bruce.
How are you?
These are both
enjoyed you on the tape very much. Oh, yes.
I don't recognize that.
Oh, you did. You did very well. You did very well. How are you, Matt?
Matt's
you
back.
okay?
Yeah,
Good.
Top of the bill, and
This
Steve
is-
Hewlett, who's our big with.
How are you? Nice to meet you as well. You okay?
Very well,
Good.
thanks.
Yeah, all the boys one side, all the girls the other. So, because that's completely put you in a state of flux. You don't know where you want to do.
One day I'd have to decide.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's decision time. In my day, Sunday concerts, you couldn't use any props. I mean, you'd be out. No chance for you. And you with all your funny stuff, you couldn't do it that. You had to wear a dinner suit, or the girls would have to wear so they'd wear just a cocktail frock. No funny props, no dancing. You could sing. The accordionist could play numbers and all that sort of thing. And that's when I first started doing audience participation.
I do remember him wowing the audience. That's the only way to describe it. And something stuck in my mind all those years ago. A sketch that he did, which involved different types of golfers and their attitude to golf and how they played the game.
Then we have the short-sighted golfer.
He was very conscientious about his work. Every day was rehearsals. No matter where we were in the car driving along, he just rehearsed and rehearsed.
Oh, well, we're getting nearer.
In show business, like any other walk of life, the thing you need more than anything else is a bit of luck. Billy Marsh, who was one of the biggest agents in the business, the booker for Sunday night at the Palladium, came in to see me. Then he suggested, when they were looking for a new face, try Bruce Forsyth. I think he'll be the man for the job. It changed my whole life completely. I mean, I went from just being a second spot comic to one of the biggest names in television in only 6 weeks of being here. It was the first Sunday in September 1958. I drove here and I suddenly really felt terribly nervous. And I drove round the block 3 times before I had the courage to walk down these steps and go through that stage door. I tell you, this really does bring back memories, because I was, my goodness. what a small dressing room, you see. I was fourth top of the bill, and there I was here in this rabbit hutch.
This is the London Palladium.
I'd been nervous before in the business, but this was really the big test.
When the curtain went up that night, he just was so good.
So I thought it might be a good idea to come out there, have a little talk. And if a few of you are nice, it might spread. And we might have a nice night, you never know, do you? Are you with him, dear? Yeah? We definitely hit on something here. Read all about it next Sunday!
At the end of the evening, I would know whether I was going to stay for 1 more week, 2 more weeks. In the end, I did about 300 shows from here. The idea is when you do get the big break, which everybody in show business wants that big break, when you get it, you have to grab it with both hands. It's no good making a success of one thing. You've got to make a success of the next thing, and then the next thing after that, so that you establish yourself.
That's the right temper? How could you believe me when I said I love you when you know I've been a liar all my life?
You've had that reputation since you was a youth. I must have been insane to think you'd tell me the truth.
Things started to come in. Agents would phone up, people would phone him up at home. It just didn't stop. It just didn't stop. It was incredible, the amount of fame.
Let's try and pack it
He
up.
was never at home. He was always working. He was always away somewhere.
In the air. Look, give it one like that.
The more you got on, the more ambitious you became. You see, it was not only to be in the Palladium here in pantomime and doing the Palladium television show, it was, I wondered if I could ever be top of the bill. The strange thing was, I became more than the top of the bill because I couldn't believe it. 20 years later, I actually did my one-man show at the Palladium, which was that was the ultimate. That really was, in that wonderful theatre as well. See what I mean? See what I mean? Frank Sinatra recorded this. Nobody bloody asked me, did they? But this is the song. This is the one for me. 2, 3... What the bloody hell? Where did you go? All round the back and up here? I mean, you spoilt my mood and everything. Will you strap him in, please? I knew he was a fidget. Sorry about that. You don't mind if we start again, do you? Stupid fool. Come up in there, he thinks he's a bloody superstar. I mean, you've got to get in the mood for this thing. Such a great song. 2, 3, 4, maybe it's because you see, it's your fault. I respect this place. It respected me, gave me everything. So this is everything to me, everything.
Everything you need for a party.
Why are you getting changed, babe?
At Sainsbury's.
Nicole Masters.
What's your sales figures, do you know?
Designed to be resourceful.
What do you think
BT Cellnet's new tariffs. Designed to give her hundreds of free text messages every month. So she can text again.
No reason why you shouldn't be.
And again. Talk, text and net from BT Cellnet.
Some people will call me obsessive.
This man believes it is better to anticipate change than to have it forced upon you. If he gets his way, the pollution of town and country will be a thing of the past. The drain on our precious natural resources would ease.
And our dependence on traditional fossil fuels would be ended forever, in favor of an energy supply which is practically inexhaustible.
Once, he would have been an oil company's worst nightmare. Today, he's their brightest hope.
Veronica, have I ever told you that I worship each and every one of your bicuspids?
And you, Gerald, have the gums of a god.
Introducing Braun Oral-B 3D XL, the only toothbrush to pulsate and oscillate 40,000 times for an amazing clean. The Braun Oral-B 3D XL, our best clean ever.
Here's another fantastic Christmas saving from Boots. You can now save up to a third on a great range of electrical, beauty and body care products. And with so many fabulous gift ideas to choose from, there's something for everyone. It's easy to make someone feel amazing from head to toe. Great gift ideas, great offers, now available at Boots.
This Christmas Eve could be more wonderful than ever. The game that created 21 millionaires in 2 nights is back. For one night only, Christmas Millionaire Maker from the National Lottery will create a night filled with millionaires. And you could be one of them. Christmas Millionaire Maker.
After the Palladium, I wanted to move on, see what was next. And then I had this offer to do this wonderful musical called Little Me. I enjoyed every minute of learning every line of that show. It was exciting to do. I had, 23 or 24 quick changes, all the songs to sing, all those different characters to play. I couldn't get bored in a show like that because every 2 or 3 minutes I was another person.
Pardon me if your affectionate nudge.
It was a very interim period in a way.
You grab the right one, I'll grab the left.
I did lots of specials, other series.
Right.
Give it to me, you need strong wrists. Right? Just a grip, you see? Strong, that is. I feel so good I can crush a grape with it.
Just get arthritis.
See, it's just...
I should stop you going purple. Mind my table!
It's all right, it loosens it. It lets the air in. See, it's nothing of it.
Let's really let the air in that day, doesn't it?
I'll do it, I'll do
We'll
it.
do it scientific, we'll do it my way.
I'll do it.
Give me the bottle, give me the bottle. We didn't think that the milk would back the lights up, did we?
And my career in television was taking a bit of a dip. I wasn't doing that much at all, and then it all completely changed. And that's when the Generation Game came along, thanks to Bill Cotton.
One of the great things about Bruce was he was world class at presenting a game show. There's no doubt about that. But he's also a world-class entertainer in his own right.
You are a canteen assistant at the local police station. Oh, do you take truncheon vouchers?
Straight in the pocket for them.
Oh, right, love. Fine. She's got an answer every time, this one. Left to watch. Right.
We had to find you a permanent partner to assist you in the show, and that's where my recollection is that that's where we first met up with Anthea Redfern.
I'd seen Anthea at a Lovely Legs competition, and I just said, get her to come along there, because they're looking for a nice-looking girl who can do a little bit. You know, it might be good.
I went along, went into the office, met the director and the producer, and they just literally there and then they said, we want you for the job. And so I was absolutely flabbergasted, and Bruce was there sort of saying, I told you she was good, and all this kind of thing.
We always tried to play it like a live show, and one of the most popular things, of course, was the plays. And we said to Tony Horsey, go away and write a play with the contestants, I think. But of course, Tony, being Tony, went away, wrote it, and I wasn't in it. And I said no to Tony, look, this is the fun of it. I've got to be amongst those. If they go wrong, I've got to pounce on them.
Yeah, what can it be? What can it be? Can it get in there? Can it go?
We would go across the road and have lunch in our breaks and rehearsal. And so it all sort of started from there. And then I was in my dressing room, and he came at about 6, and I was sitting there looking absolutely desperate, no makeup on at all, hair in Carmen rollers. And he came up to me and kissed me.
It's the name of the game, and I want to play the game with you.
It was a blockbuster. It was a giant show for its era. And certainly by the time you came to your third series, you'd left 14 million behind.
Oh,
and
yes.
were going into very, very high teens. And I can remember various of your Christmas shows that were in excess of 20 million.
Oh, all right, easy! Yes, tell me, is this Barboon Hill just outside of Dodestone? No, it's Bootle, just outside of Liverpool. Up here. Give me a drink. Up the other end. Here we are, have yourself a shot.
There's no question that being a professional, every I had to be dotted and every T crossed. And Bruce was demanding, and his professionalism grew within the show as he got to understand, as indeed we all got to understand, what made the show work.
Lambada, no gracias. La salsa, no gracias. La samba, no gracias. Merengue,
I always leave things when I think, when I think I've had enough of it, if I'm slightly getting bored with it, if I think, like in the Generation Game, we were starting to repeat the same games over and over again. After that, it was into the big night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Forsyth.
Big Night got off to a bit of a bad start. Because the trouble when you do television shows like that, you can't rehearse them like you do if you're doing a West End musical. Have 3 or 4 weeks rehearsal. But we had some wonderful, wonderful stars on that show.
What's his real team?
Would you care to be mother?
What does that mean? Mother, why, are you going to be dad? What's going to happen?
laughing now? It's a little cover like.
No, but I mean, you know,
What does that mean? Mama serves? Mother serves?
Mama serves, yes. Mother means you pour the tea. I'll tell you something. Parkinson's never done this, has he?
Oh, this is great.
Have you heard of Parkinson's?
No. Is it like a disease?
Yes. It is like a disease. We get it every Saturday night.
Long song, isn't it? You right by the yard?
No, by the back door. It was never the disaster that the press made about it, but they did go in with their knives very, very badly. And of course, what they love to do, the bigger you are, the harder you fall, and that's what they were going for.
This will be my shining hour, calm and happy and bright.
The knives had been out for me because of the big night. So I went to Broadway, which was a big, big challenge, something I always wanted to do.
This will be my shining hour. It's nice to be here and it's nice to see you again. Now is the hour.
I hadn't worked with American Audience for years, since I was on the American Red Cross when I was a kid. But I always knew I could get to them. That there was a rapport that I felt with an American audience.
I went to see Rod Stewart at Madison Square Gardens last week, because I do admire him. I really do. You know, I thought he was going to fight somebody. And I went to see him, and I mean, that's show business today. Rod, I mean, he's got all the guitars strumming away at the back there, and the drummer's going mad, you know, old Carmine with the lips, and he just that's what he's doing. I mean, that's how he earns his living, Rod. That's it. Wearing his trousers out from the inside. But I mean, who wants to see this for 2.5 hours? She does for a start. Look at her. Help yourself, dear. Help yourself.
I can remember one night, we stood on the side of the stage, and he looked down and he said, "What are we doing here, love?" And I thought, and it came from the heart. But what actually happened was, he went down great.
Never mind what I thought or chums thought. The audience loved him. And they loved his the same sort of warmth, because if you're born with that, that's something that's special, and it carries whether you're in Germany, Paris, London, or New York. But tonight he opened them up, man, and after the first 5 minutes, he was like entertaining in the living room.
The audiences there were marvellous. The critics were half for me, half against me, but I think if you're ever sort of break even with the critics, I think you can always be grateful of that. In fact, there was, two of the placards outside the newsagents. One placard on the Evening News said, "Bruce wows Broadway," and the other placard in the Evening Standard said, "Bruce flops on Broadway." So you can make of that what you will.
I think what happened with the press sometimes, that they didn't get their way with Bruce. I think it was vindictive, some of it.
The press did get at me terribly, really, and very unfairly at times, completely unfairly. I saw a show whilst I was in America, and I thought, if I brought it over, it could possibly be a big hit in England. Of course, it was Play Your Cards Right. Well, you can have a free shot at this now, higher or lower, to win the game. Higher. Higher than a 6 to win the game. I then had the chance to do an hour special with Sammy Davis Jr. I regarded it as the best show that I was ever associated with.
Never your attention, do we really have to mention where the was? So give our regards to
it was at the Miss World competition in 1980. I was asked to be a judge. It changed my whole life because I was there with all the judges. We're waiting for one judge who was a little bit late, and then in walked Wilnelia. And that was that. She was a vision. I just couldn't believe my eyes.
And then we started judging all the contestants. And one thing really attracted me about Bruce is that he was, I think it was the turn of Miss Turkey. And he said to Miss Turkey, "What do you have for Thanksgiving at home for dinner?" And I thought, what a great sense of humor. I called a friend of mine in London, and then she started telling me about Bruce. And one thing she said, "I think you have to be careful."
He's got a bit of a reputation.
Yes.
Would you believe that? The whole of our romance was very secretive because of the press here.
And you went to Venezuela and to Paris and a few times to Puerto Rico.
All
At the end, he said it was cheaper to marry me. And I think that's the reason than traveling around the world.
Almost cheap.
How is it being married? Yeah. It's a lovely, lovely feeling.
It's good for me because I don't feel I'm living with a star or anything like that. It's only when he's on stage, he's performing. He's very down to earth.
It's 21 years we've known each other. The only thing I can blame her for is making those 21 years go so quickly.
Look, we'll carry on and you go into Woolies.
At Woolies this Christmas, we've got 3 for 2 on matchmakers. 3 for 2 on all packs of baubles. And Sony PlayStation 2 consoles for under 200 quid. Of course, with offers like these, you might forget what you went in for.
Well, did you get it?
Couldn't see it anywhere.
Walking in a winter wonderland.
This is how a computer would plan a pipeline. And this is how a human being would do it.
It would be easy to dismiss this man as an unworldly idealist. He believes passionately in the preservation of his country's culture and the protection of a unique marine ecosystem. To him, the sight of these ancient underwater burial grounds deserves as much respect as the need for a supply of cheap, clean energy.
How can energy be called cheap if it costs a nation its treasures?
Once, he would have been impossible for an oil company to get along with. Today, it would be impossible to get along without him.
Pastry brush.
Thanks. Walking in a winter wonderland.
Remember the pop superstars of today. Before they were famous. Relive their search for fame and fortune. Go back to where it all began with a special rock and pop celebration hosted by Cliff Richard with guests Lulu and Donny Osmond. The Way They Were, Wednesday 9:45 on ITV1.
I always hated those, 15 minutes, 20 minutes before you do the show.
Did you get nervous?
Oh yes, I always get, and I'm glad I get nervous, because I think once you stop being nervous in show business, then you lose a certain something.
How long have we got, boys?
15 minutes.
I think if you start to say to yourself, I'm going to kill him tonight, then you could get to the stage of not you going to kill them, they can kill you.
Minutes, Bruce.
Once you've made it in the business, then you can go on before anybody because they know you and you're not having that terrible slog of, will they like me? They still might not like me, but they recognise you and they're with you from the start.
Welcome to the show, and what a great show we've got for you lucky people. What a fantastic show we've got. It's a great show, really. It's not tonight, it's tomorrow, but never mind, we'll start then. It's going to be a long night, isn't it? I wasn't born here, but I think I'm going to die here. Got a funny feeling. Don't worry, well, I've got some great material. I have bloody happy,
Good line.
The audience will just be amazed when they see him, particularly as they're not expecting to see him, of course.
Oh! Please don't stop. Oh, what an ovation, what a wave of warmth. It's nice to see you. And it's so lovely to be back in Babacoombe again. It may be Babacombe to you, but to me it will always be Babacoombe. And by the way, in case you think that you've got to pay extra because I'm appearing here tonight, I'm doing this absolutely free. Yes, come on, free for nothing. And as someone once said, nostalgia isn't what it used to be. And think about that one. And right now, I'm full of nostalgia because, really, I am, honestly, did it show? I'm full of what? What did you say? Full of nostalgia because 46 years ago, I appeared here in summer season, my first summer season, in a show. Oh, blimey, it's the same audience. Bloody hell! We did a song at the start of the show, like they did here, but it was very different in those days. We had 2 pianos and drums, and we did this song, the opening song, which, are you going to fidget all bloody night, dear? Just go. Why didn't you come properly dressed? Oh, she's taking her woolly off. Don't fold it up, dear, for God's sake. Put it under the seat. You're going to finish up there anyway. I always get them done right in the front. Anyway, this opening song was called Gay Time. See, it went like this. Gay time, let's have a playtime. This is playtime, let's have some fun. Say goodbye to worry and care, and let your troubles go like bubbles up in the air. We did 14 choruses of that. This theatre is a wonderful theatre. Never let it go and treasure it all you can. It's a beautiful place. There's nothing like life. Never will be. If it's just you and the audience, if you strike up that rapport between you, there's no other feeling in the world like it. If that had been TV, they'd have stopped halfway through it and said, oh, will you do that bit again? You know, in you come. I'm on a high, it's all the adrenaline and everything, and as I say, that high stays with you. And I'll be awake so early tomorrow morning, although I'll get to bed late tonight, I'll wake up still with a bit of the buzz, and it'll take a good day to simmer down. And good luck tonight, all of you. You always need a bit of luck. I think if the day comes when it no longer gives me the actual kick to walk onto a stage to an audience, and if I start losing that, I think I will know within me as a performer that it's time. If I can't produce anymore, I think I'll say, this is it, this is the end of the road. And I think this is where she's a very honest person, so she would say, I think you're doing the right thing. You would do that, wouldn't you?
Yes, definitely.
Are you going to show us the world? Yeah, I'll show you.
In 1958, when I had the big break, I had to consolidate. But when I met Winelia, I've achieved so much. I could make my life much more easygoing.
Go! It's Britain's brightest game show. Bruce's Price is Right.
I do a lot of game shows, you see, and when you do game shows, you do them quickly, so you have more time off.
Well done. Now, just a minute. Hold on a moment. It's not over yet. The car is worth £9,995. There's another fire, it's worth 10 grand.
I do a game show, it takes, 3 weeks, and I've done 17 shows. I like it. I think that'd be worth doing.
Yeah, it's simple, isn't it?
Yeah. But still, the audience can join in straight away. Listen to them there.
She's been on the show since
Oh,
it started.
God. She has, hasn't she?
Janice Pennington.
Yeah. I thought she would have taken her pension by now.
She has actually.
But she's still a very attractive lady, isn't she? The only trouble with doing game shows is I did sacrifice my career a bit because I didn't do as many light entertainment shows and specials. I always have to have a look at you when we're in a restaurant. There's lobster on. God dear, my credit card starts twitching. Why don't you just have cotton chips? Why couldn't I have had a son who likes cotton chips? Since we've met, the most I've worked is maybe 5 or 6 months a year, which gives me 6 months to devote to us and to our son. There you are. What, you making a biscuit sandwich? Look at this. How did you think of that? A biscuit sandwich. God, no. Look at that. Oh, terrible. That's it. Could we have a bib, Cora? A night like that. There you are. Who are these two? Sorry, the wrong way round. The other way, darling. She thinks she's in America. She thinks going the wrong way. Since I've met Winnie, she's given me the balance that I needed between family and working.
Don't get up. Don't get up. Nice to see you.
Since I met her, I've had a different attitude towards life. I didn't see as much of my daughters as I would like to have done over the years. But then again, you know, sometimes families drift apart as they get older. But I'm so glad to be able to say, and I honestly mean this, that we are now closer and closer, which is wonderful.
My lords, ladies, gentlemen, fellow OBEs, and hangers-on,